Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, guys, we got Max Klare here. Looking around the room for hands. Good. We'll start with Tim Mayer.
Thanks. Max, what's your excitement level, I guess, for one of another term, going into a game like this, the start of the playoffs? You're thinking you got to get ready for one, but you might have to play three. You understand what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, no doubt.
Is this like you got to put everything into this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Obviously, it's a new experience for me coming from Purdue. So, being on a team like this and being able to have this opportunity in front of us, it's really exciting for me.
What's your impressions after seeing the way they played against Texas A&M defensively, and how big of a challenge is this? Is this maybe the toughest defense you guys will face?
Yeah, I think it's a big challenge. Obviously, they're really talented. They play really hard, and they do a lot of things really well. So, offensively, we're going to have to be on point and put together a great plan and trust that plan and go out there and execute.
All the way in the back there, Hope.
Max, you mentioned the difference, coming from Purdue. When you transferred here, were these the kind of games that you were thinking about playing in?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is what college football is all about, and to be able to go out there with this team and do that, it's extremely exciting and something I've always wanted to do, and kind of a childhood dream. So, definitely.
Step up.
When you got here, I guess, do you know the season-long approach that Coach Jay's talked a lot about preparing to play 16, 17 potential games in the season? How much does that kind of become more of an emphasis now, knowing that yes, there's one game at hand, but there's also kind of a run here that you guys are trying to put together?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just one game. That's all we got. You know what I mean? And it's a one-game season, and we got to attack this week. Every day, attack it like that, and go out there and approach it as a one-game season and win that game. So, one game at a time.
Right behind us, Spencer.
Max, when you came here, you talked about wanting to become a more complete tight end. You talked about the blocking and everything. When you see, you're not an offensive tackle, but when you see the matchups of Ruben Bain and those guys on the defensive line, do you kind of get excited to be able to kind of help out and go against those defensive ends like the offensive linemen do? Yeah,
definitely. Anything I can do to help the team succeed, whether it's block at the end or block on the perimeter or catch a ball. I mean, I'm excited about anything, and I'm excited to go out there and compete at the highest level.
Good Bill.
Max, just the way Julian handles himself, especially just being a young guy, even if he's a fifth-year senior, he seems to handle himself really well. But just what stands out about his demeanor, so to speak? Yeah,
I think it's just the consistency that he brings on a daily basis, whether that's in practice or the games. I mean, he's just a consistent person all the way through, and that's something that you really want in a quarterback, and that's what we got in Julian. So it's very exciting to have a guy like that and someone everyone can lean on, when times get tough.
Patrick Murphy.
You guys obviously have had this time off since the Big Ten Championship game. Miami played this weekend. How do you keep that edge that you guys had going week by week by week with this long layoff so far and then going forward?
Yeah, I think that's something the coaches have put a big emphasis on, and that's just the way we practice every day. I mean, going out there and competing against each other, best on best, and attacking every day and keeping that edge, and so we can be ready to go come next Wednesday.
Right next door, Tony.
I think this was an angry team after the Big Ten Championship game. Is this still an angry team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a lot to prove. We have a chip on our shoulder now, and I think the guys are excited to go write a story after what happened a couple weeks ago.
All right, we'll go to Scotty Rogers with anyone on Zoom.
Yes, we have one question on Zoom, and that will come from Joe Reedy. Go ahead, Joe.
Thanks, Scotty. Max, just in terms of Julian's game from what you've seen this season, I know you talked about his demeanor earlier. What's the biggest areas of improvement or progression that you've seen during the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, how comfortable he is back there. Obviously, he was new to the position early on, but he was still super comfortable. But I think he's just gotten even more comfortable throughout the season. And, it shows through what he does on a week-to-week basis.
We have one more question from Zoom, and it will come from Dan Tora. Go ahead, Dan.
Max, happy to see you here, and congratulations on getting to this point. Just what you can say about the road to get to where you are right now, and just maybe the one moment or two that sticks out to you on how you were kind of challenged this season adversity-wise.
Yeah, I think it's been a long road. Obviously, through the recruiting process and everything like that. I've been challenged here a lot, whether that's preseason or even during the season. So, those challenges have definitely built me up into a better player, and it's something that I'm really appreciative of.
Mike, back to you.
Great. Dave.
Yeah, Max, earlier this year you had a game against Purdue that probably emotionally meant a little bit more to you. I think you could make a similar case, Jeremiah. It's not apples to apples, but this is one that might geographically mean more to him. I'm curious, your thoughts on you guys kind of banding around him this week in a matchup that matters.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Obviously, going back home. I mean, a lot of our guys are going back home. Playing against a team from back home. So I think there's a lot of built-up excitement for that. Just as, like you said, for me, going against Purdue, and I think we just got to lean on that energy and build off of that energy that they have and carry that with us.
Everything else?
Max, you said you guys have a chip on your shoulder. You talk to guys around the team all year. They've said that all year. Obviously, you lose in the end, you feel like you have more to prove. But how has that message changed? How has that feeling changed amongst the team in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think guys are as hungry as ever, and excited to go out there and rewrite the story and create our own story this year. And I think that chip is something that's continues to grow, practice in, practice out, so definitely.
Earlier in the year, I guess maybe when you first got here, we were told maybe you had a little bit of an adjustment period to learn like the physicality of practicing every day at Ohio State. How do you think that's grown through the season? How prepared are you now for what's probably going to be a physical game for you guys in Dallas compared to where you were when you first got here?
Right, no, absolutely. I think, the physicality of playing at Ohio State and the practices here will prepare you for a stretch like this that, we want to go on. And, playing against guys like Ruben Bain and those guys, it's going to be a great test and, something that we're prepared for.
In the back, Joe Nugent.
It's been hard to not play a game in several weeks, especially with the way the last one ended.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been kind of weird. It's felt like a half a year, I feel like. So it's definitely a little weird. It's something that I've never really experienced. So it's the first time for me.
Right here in the middle, front row middle, Bill, for Bill.
You came here because you wanted to become a complete tight end before you would enter the NFL. That was a big goal of yours. Do you feel like you've accomplished that? And do you have any thoughts on whether you're coming back next year?
Right. No, I think me personally, I think I always have a lot of room to grow in all aspects of my game. And, it's something that I still have to make a decision on, have conversations and figure that out.
On the aisle, Andrew Gill.
You said you have a lot of room to grow. Where are those areas that you are looking to grow? And then, as you look to make that decision, what are some of the factors in that NFL decision for you?
Right. I think in terms of room to grow, I got all aspects of the game, whether that's in the run game, pass game, always looking for improvement and, just to grow as a player, just as anyone would. And there's just a lot of factors that come into play with that. So.
Yep.
Max, we know Brian Hartline has other things that he's dealing with. He's also here with you guys. How much has Ryan Day maybe been more directly involved with the offense since the Big Ten championship game?
Yeah, I think he's definitely had a more of a focus on the players and trying to get this offense going. You know what I mean, and putting us in the best position as possible to go out there and have success come next Wednesday.
Yeah, Max.
Time for one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What did y'all specifically address over these last couple of weeks that kind of fell short against Indiana from an offensive standpoint and stuff? Obviously, the finishing aspect of things, 2 times inside the 10 and no points. What did y'all address?
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to execution. Against Indiana, we just didn't execute at the level we were supposed to, and it's something we got to focus on and make sure we're locked in on. So it really just comes down to execution at the end of the day.
Max, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Max.